We are live. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Respect the Craft. This is episode number 139, and I'm finally joined here by the closer, the Uptown boy himself, Jarett Diaz. What's going on, brother?
What up, Ray? How you doing, man? Thank you for having me. I know it's been a while since we've been trying to get this scheduled, so I'm very glad that we are getting it done.
No, same, and I'm doing well. I'm glad you're here again. This has been one where just so many things are getting in the middle, but it's now here. It's all under now. So let's finally get this
Absolutely. And let
conversation
me
going.
just say too, I commend you for taking a little bit of a mental health break that you needed to take and getting back to this when it felt right for you. I think that's crucially important.
Oh, thank you so much, and definitely, I'm glad we can finally get this going here. So now, before we get into anything, because there's so much I do want to talk to you about, you heard the name of the podcast. It's called Respect the Craft. So when you hear that term, though, the craft, what does that
Sick
mean?
intro, by the way. Sick intro. Love it.
Thank you.
Nice graphic package. What does it mean? To me, respecting the craft is this idea that what we do should not be taken lightly. So every competitor and even at times referee, put their life on the line every time you get in a ring. One simple thing can go poorly enough and put people in real bad shape. So I think that respecting the craft is this idea that what we do, as much fun as it is, as sports entertaining as it might be, it should always, just to a certain degree, be taken seriously, because at the end of the day, if it's not, lives are at risk.
Gotcha. Perfect. There you go. So now let's start getting into this here, because there's one of the main reasons I did want to talk to you, because I had a good buddy of yours a few weeks ago as well on the podcast, Matt Awesome. So I wanted to talk about that because at the time of the original schedule, you were getting into that ladder match at Invictus. Had to show this up there, the Uptown Boys.
Yup.
So for you though, I have to ask, for you being a part of not only that team but also another team over here in the board, how has that been for you? Do you like the tag team style, or are you more you want to do this lone wolf style?
So I consider myself a singles wrestler.
Okay.
Reason being is because when I first broke in and for the first 3 years of doing what I was doing, I was in a faction. I was in a team called the Rapture down in Florida. Jay Sky, Richard King, two of the most talented young wrestlers on the Indies. Richard is coming to me with me to Vegas. He's wrestled on CCW as well as Jay Sky, and we were a group. They were a tag team. I was the singles wrestler. At this point, we're no longer a group. We all wrestle individually, still very close as friends, but we do our own thing. So I consider myself a singles wrestler, but I tag team with Matt as the Uptown Boys. He is a good friend, and he knows that I primarily consider myself a singles wrestler, but there are times where the situation calls for tag team wrestling, and there are times where it is good to have a friend by your side competing with you and performing with you. And the same goes with Sebastian Cage and with JC Storm with the board and CCW. That group is a little bit different. That group is my group, and they are supporting me. They're behind me, but they are just as important to the act as I am. So I think that I heard this phrase when I first broke into wrestling, and it really I guess cemented my place with the Rapture at the time, and I took it through, is that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I feel that there is nobody in this business who has done anything entirely alone, and we open doors for each other. I think that's the best part of wrestling with groups, wrestling with friends, is being able to earn each other opportunities.
Gotcha. Perfect. So I do have to ask though, with that being said, with the so you do consider yourself a singles wrestler. I now have to ask, your mentality when it comes to the business has been able to be developed by an amazing opportunity. You got to work under, which no secret here, under the umbrella of one of the biggest companies in wrestling, in the WWE. How is that for you, and how has that developed the mindset you go into now when you do go into a match?
You're absolutely right. I did earn very unique opportunities having worked with WWE. Initially as a broadcast intern and learning all of the non-wrestling roles while going to school at Full Sail and being able to be in the Performance Center 2-3 times a week. Like it afforded me a really unique opportunity to be under the same roof as some of the best professional wrestlers in the world. This was the black and gold era of NXT, where not only were they killing it at tapings and takeovers, but they were also in the PC training 4 or 5 days a week as well. So I was rubbing shoulders with guys like Adam Cole and Gargano and Ricochet and Cassius Ohno and Velveteen and Keith Lee and Dijak, and being able to get into the beginning of my wrestling career while also being able to pick those guys' brains, because they were very generous with their information. They knew that I was a potential in the business wrestler as well as a broadcast in training. So anytime I would ask them for advice or for, hey, how do you do this thing that I haven't figured out yet? They would be willing to give that information up generously, happily, even, because they want the business to grow, and as they should. It's the reason they were able to get there. And then secondly, working with NXT UK as a production assistant and as assistant editor, it helped me, if anything, just learn how to wrestle for TV. The way that shows are edited is done in such a specific way with a certain mindset that there are performance aspects that we on the independent scene don't know about, let alone don't practice. So I was able to translate my work to a Fight TV, to an IWTV, to AEW Dark far better than some of the other people in my position, because they just weren't exposed to those things. So how I take it into matches currently, it's especially when I'm doing something on IWTV or Fight or any of the other services, it's just knowing where the cameras are, knowing how to sell to camera, knowing how to work and perform to camera the way that other people just don't or haven't been taught. And that's not to say that they're any less talented. It's just something that I was lucky enough to be exposed to very early on. I don't have to be 10 years in and just learning how to wrestle on TV, because I was doing it at 3.5.
Which again, that is an insane opportunity. And then you also bring up that AEW Dark as well. Getting multiple chances with AEW and just those opportunities. It's even another just learning experience right there. And I have to ask you, with that, after the WWE and when that unfortunately, again, the pandemic era kind of it messed up a lot.
It changed
before it's something that when that did come to an end was the idea of, okay, I guess let me now get back into the indie scene. Was that an instant thought, or were you in that moment of, well, what do I do now?
You hit the nail on the head. It was, what do I do now? At the very beginning of the pandemic, when people just started getting locked in and didn't know when we would be let outside, I was also finishing up college and I was ending the internship at the time. So for the order of operations, it was like, finished the internship in like February or January, being told, hey, when you graduate, we are going to call you. We all but have decided to hire you. Pandemic hits in March. I moved back to New York in April. And in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, well, I'm going to finish school online. That's not a big deal. WWE will recover. They're a billion-dollar corporation, and I'll get the job that I'm being told that I'm probably going to get. Instead of hiring me, they fire 200 people at least, which, as sad as it was, it's just part of what happened in this country with the pandemic. So now I'm thinking, all right, well, I thought I was done with wrestling because I was going to take this talking job, but now I'm not doing that either. So now I have to wrestle, but not mad about it. Like I'm glad about it. I love to wrestle. It's the thing I love to do the most. But I had also moved back to New York out of Florida at the time, and I had no foothold here. Like, I had trained at Create a Pro initially, and I knew a couple of people, but I didn't have any connections or any inwards, or like, I was starting completely from scratch again, which was daunting. It was a very intimidating task. So it was definitely like, oh, what do I do now? I was lucky enough to befriend Steve Pena through Matt shortly after moving back to New York, like in the summertime when some gyms started to open up a little bit. And Pena put me on with ECPW. Pena put me on with XWA up in Rhode Island. And that's where I finally got an opportunity to perform it. And my first time at XWA, I wrestled Kylon King in a main event singles match just off of the reference of Pena. Pena was like, yo, this guy's good. Give me an opportunity. And they did. And it went well. And then I was able to do shows. And from there, I was able to just start being exposed to other places. But starting from scratch again was scary. It was scary because I never thought I'd have to, A, but B, I thought to myself, like, oh, like, what if they just don't take to me here? What do I do?
So I do have to ask as well, I should have asked this beforehand, my apologies, was with the WWE opportunity, and if they would have hired you, would you have been okay with, well, this is now going to take me in a different direction than the wrestler Jarett Diaz here? This would have been in the in a different field here? Would you have been okay with
I think that it was two-sided for me
yeah.
because when I was a kid, even before I watched wrestling or got into wrestling, I was into sports radio as a
Okay.
child at like 6, 7 years old, wanting to listen to like Mike and Mike on ESPN radio or watching
Gotcha.
Cold Pizza in the morning. And like getting into sports broadcasting wasn't just a career move. It was to a degree like a passion and a pursuit for me as well. So I was able to combine the two with this internship at WWE at the Performance Center. And like, I guess there was a part of me that knew like, hey, like if WWE gives me an opportunity to talk for a living and play that role, which is it's still on TV. It's still storytelling, which is the thing I'm most passionate about. And it's within the world of wrestling at the company that almost everybody wants to work at, especially
Yeah.
AEW didn't exist at the time. So I was fully ready to take on a speaking role with WWE, a broadcasting role, knowing that if this doesn't pan out, I'll make sure I stay in shape. Because even a broadcaster at WWE gains exposure coming out of it. If for some reason I work there for a handful of years and then I'm not doing that anymore, there's always going to be wrestling. At that time, I'm thinking there's always going to be wrestling to fall back on because I love this business and I'm in shape and I'm an athlete. And learning at WWE is only going to make me better in every way. So I was prepared to, I guess, leave wrestling behind at least temporarily.
Gotcha. No, and definitely. And again, it even though it took a little longer, it did end up working out with, again, you fell back on having the amazing opportunities you've had so far and it just continues to go from there. But before we continue here, I got to address them in the chat here. Toe messaging in the chat, just
Don't
saying,
address him in the chat.
well, just
Don't address him in the chat.
we'll talk about that later because we do want to continue here with some topics I do want to discuss.
That's
But
fine.
yeah, with the opportunities you've had here, I do want to talk about for you. How was that match with Speedball Mike Bailey?
Oh my God. I mean, Speedball is one of the best in the world. I will tell him and he will humbly deny it. And I don't care because he is. For a little bit of backstory, last year I went to wrestle for FSW in Las Vegas. I think Money in the Bank weekend, which was last year because the year before was Double or Nothing. So last year I'm in Vegas again. It's the second time there. And I know Mike Bailey is going to be on a show, but I'm not on the show he's on. I go anyway, right? And I had a couple days before seen that he was in New York, so I just tweeted at him when he was tweeting about being in New York, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take you for some pizza next time." I know I'm not gonna take him for pizza, but I'm just wanting to interact with this guy because he is Speedball Mike Bailey, and everybody knows what he's about. So then I see him in Vegas, and I go up and talk to him and just chat a little bit, and he was just really nice. He was a kind guy. So fast forward to wrestling with WXW in Germany last fall, which is 4 or 5 months after meeting him in Vegas. And I go have this match with Man Like Darius and Eli Isom, who's on Ring of Honor tonight, I believe. Man Like Darius is killing it on the British scene right now. Eli, in his own right, has done a lot of cool stuff in the Midwest and down south. So I have this match. It's a lot. Like, personally, I think we were doing maybe a little bit too much, but we were all trying to show out. We're at WXW, right? It's an opportunity of a lifetime on the other side of the world, in my case. And after the match, Speedball goes out of his way after watching the whole thing, despite having a match of his own to do, and gives us some pretty intricate feedback. And that turns into a back and forth between me and him, and I get to learn from him and soak up this knowledge. And the same thing happened a couple months later in Rhode Island. I had a match, and he was there, and he gave me all this info, all this feedback. And I'm like thinking, damn, this dude is great. He's kind. He's incredibly talented. He's humble, and he wants to help. He wants to give back. I've been very lucky with the trend of like, they say don't meet your heroes, but almost everybody I've met in this business has just been generous and kind. Cody, Adam Cole, like some of the best wrestlers in the world just want to give back. So I hope that, as I get older, I will adopt the same mindset. But I'm having these back and forths with Speedball every time I see him, and I'm like, damn, this guy's just the best. And then I see Revolver puts out the Speedball Open Challenge, and I'm sitting in this very chair with this exact Kobe mural behind me when I see it on Twitter, and I send it to one of my friends, and he was like, yeah, you should do it. Matter of fact, it's Victor from the wrestling club, the teacher. So I send it to him over, and he was like, yeah, you should definitely like get in on this. So I'm like, okay, well, I see some people like tweeting at it, but they're not getting reactions. I'm going to cut a promo. Let me shoot this thing. I shoot a promo. At first, I'm nice to him, and he responds with just a pair of eyes. And I took that a little bit personally. I'm like, yo, like, you know me. Like, you know me as a person. Give me some feet. Give me something here. Give me some pushback. Nothing. He just sends me a pair of eyes, and that was it. I was like, you know what? Okay. I'm going to give it a few days. If he doesn't get back to me, I'm going to shoot again. And that's exactly what happens. So now I shoot another promo, and I'm like, listen, man, I called you out, and it feels like you kind of sidestepped me. So now I got to call you out for real. Maybe you're afraid of what you created by helping me so much. So I called him out again. I go to AEW about a week later. I'm down in Florida, and Pro Wrestling Revolver's social media hits me up, Sami Callihan, and he goes, hey, how quickly can you get he goes, hey, can you get to Dayton by Thursday? I'm picking you for the Speedball Challenge. And lo and behold, I get picked for the Speedball Challenge. So I fly out to Revolver like 2 days later, down to Dayton, Ohio, and I go have this match. And having this match with Speedball was such a task. Like, the dude has a super high motor. So it's a multi-man, right? It's him, Jessica Havoc, Gringo Loco, Madman Fulton. Super talented people. And me, right? All these people who have wrestled on TV, who've had contracts in one way or another, and me. So I know I'm odd man out, but like, you know, I'm not going to get left in the dust here. Like, I'm going to go perform. I'm going to do my thing. I don't know if you've seen the match, but I did my thing. And then Speedball kicked the shit out of me, flipped me over, and pinned me. And that was tough too. But it was definitely an opportunity that I took very seriously, and I think capitalized on, to the point where now Sami Callihan and I have some rapport. And after the match, he congratulated me, and Speedball as well after the match. Say, hey man, I'm sorry I had to do it to you, but like, great job out there. So I will be back at Revolver at some point. I'll see them in Vegas and hopefully get something done with them in July. But I'm very excited to have taken the most out of the opportunity that I could have.
Nice. And again, it's been that story, I feel like, for you, just capitalizing and taking the most out of every opportunity you've been given so far, and earning those opportunities and learning from those moments, which is great to hear. Because again, it's one of those where it's, oh, I should have done this. No, it's like, no, you did it and made the most out of it every single time.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, man. I look at it like, nobody in this business is anything for you. I said earlier, like, it's very helpful to have friends who will help you open doors and do the same for them. I totally agree. Like, I hold that mindset, but at the same time, if you want something, you have to go get it. I don't know if you've seen Hamilton, or people that
definitely
know Hamilton, but I kind of took it as a character piece for me, where it's like, how do you write like you're running at a time? How do you fight like you're running at a time? It's like, if I have to literally be nonstop, because if I sit down and wait for something to happen, it's never going to happen. There
you go. And this is where we lose most of the YouTube chat that probably is not seen Hamilton. But I understood the reference and loved it.
Go watch it. It's amazing.
It really is. It really is. And here we go. We talked about him earlier. As Matt also in the chat saying, my God,
my God, Maddie.
And again, just
Maddie,
taking stuff out of
credit to him. I'm not even going to acknowledge him. Credit Maddie for not only being a tag team partner, but being an excellent friend. I don't know if you know this, Ray, but my dog passed a few days ago. We had to put it down.
Sincerest apologies.
Thank you.
My condolences.
And it's been tough. It's been a hard mental health situation for me in the last recent weeks, admittedly. And Matt's been there. Matt's been reaching out. Matt's been by my side. He's good people, and other people as well. But Matt's in the chat, so I'm giving him this credit directly.
Definitely. No, and again, my sincerest condolences. I did see that, and it's rough. And again, I thank you for being here, and again, through here with us. So.
But anyway, we're gonna ignore tags. We're not gonna acknowledge him.
It's
gonna make him more mad if I do.
And that's what it is. It's gonna keep it. We'll get to it eventually. We'll talk about it eventually here.
Nope.
So, but let's get to the first matchup I do want to promote here, and that's one that's going to be happening this Saturday.
That's right.
At New Age Wrestling, it's going to be you defending that junior championship here against Prince Ahmed. Prince Ahmed, someone I've definitely gotten to see a lot recently, and just truly a mat technician here.
Talented dude. Look, I've wrestled him before, and he beat me, right? So I got to get my get back. I haven't beaten the guy. I also haven't been at New Age Wrestling in a little while. There were some scheduling conflicts and some issues, but we squared that away, and I am back. I will properly be defending my junior championship for the first time, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited to be back. I'm very excited to hold gold, specifically at this promotion that I've been working at and working with for about a year now. a little over a year now. And I'm very proud. I'm very proud to be a champion there. So as long as Prince Ahmed does not get in my way, I intend to be a champion there for a very long time.
There you go. And here we go. Matt reminding us that Prince Ahmed did beat the crap out of him last month. So yeah. Maybe we got to get
now
some.
I got to see. Now I got to
too.
get our get back. I got to get our get back now.
There we go. Toe wishing you also condolences there about you. That's
oh,
nice.
Now he wants to be nice to me. Now he wants to be nice to me.
It's a 50-50.
He's gonna say I stole his dog next too after I stole his birthday. Miss me with that. I'm not doing it. Not doing it. I know it's funny to you. It's funny to you, but I'm pissed over here. Okay, that guy.
You know what? We're gonna get into it now because I feel like that's what Toe wants to hear. We're just gonna talk about it.
All right.
So I do have to ask you because I know he wants to hear it. The birthday thing. Did you know it was his birthday that day?
No, because I didn't even know him yet. Yeah. That was the first time I spoke with him was on the pod, and he comes to me with sour grapes talking about, you stole my birthday. Listen, I knew Gigi. Gigi scheduled the podcast with me. Gigi was there singing happy birthday to me. You know who was the only guy who was sour about it? Him. All right? That's not my fault. It was just for a little context, right? It was a We Are Wrestling show on March 10th. Okay. In my elementary school at St. Helena's here in the Bronx. And my family and my friends were there to support me in my match. So that's all me. I did not know this man before that day. So I didn't steal nothing from him. He just didn't have the balls to claim it back.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that, Ray.
See, I'm trying to be the simple.
Don't mediate. No. Don't mediate. Don't mediate. Take my side.
Oh man, I'm just trying to. Oh, here we go. Toe saying you hired 800 professional. It was just his friends and family.
Friends and family. I just got mad friends and family. I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry. We can't all have that many friends and family supporting, but I do.
Oh man, I tried to be simple with it. I'm just trying to be the middleman here.
It's not going to work out for you. I'm sorry.
I see. And there we go. Matt's going at him now.
Good.
He says he's going to beat him with an OG chancla for coming at you here.
Good. Oh, see, Matt has my back, and Tags is just mouthing off. He's just mad salty.
See, you know what's worse is I have to see Toe later because I'm going to be on his comic podcast. So I'm just going to get all that.
And if he's missed any part of this, be sure to fill him in on what I said.
Oh, there you go. See, we got Cap in the building. His brother is just getting on him there. See, Toe is too short to know the truth. There you go.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, it's just not a good day for Toe there. But there you go. See, Toe, I asked him about the birthday thing. We got to the truth here.
And answered, Ray.
Now let's get back to the conversation here. There you go.
Let's talk.
Toe, I'll even pop you with this, Toe. Here you go. Because I even made this. I was the one that made this graphic.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous.
Again, it was just it had to be done.
He doesn't want the smoke.
But now let's get back to some actual promoting here. Let's talk about this because you are going to be back in that Vegas area next week. You're going to be a part of an insane week with FSW as it begins here with the crowning of the very first Future Legend champion. Shout out to our good friends at Future Legend. Actually, the first guest I ever had here on the podcast as well. So always support to Frank and the team there. So let's talk about this. How do you feel about not only being an entrant, but it's finally official. Your match for the first round of that tournament is going to be none other against Robert Martyr. Again, it's just, I feel like they keep throwing those technicians at you. They just want you to go in there and they're trying to ground you because they've seen what you can do in that ring.
They want to stretch me. They want to grapple. They want to ground me because they know that if they don't, I'm bouncing off these walls, okay? I'm coming at it from all angles. I'm diving. I'm going low. I'm going high. I'm kicking them. They can't handle all the action. Now, listen, let's talk serious, okay? Let's talk serious. I know Rob Martyr for coming up on 5 years now. I've known Martyr since I've started in this biz down in Florida. So when I met Martyr, Martyr wasn't really working consistently just yet, and I had just started working consistently. And since then, we've both trained, we've both traveled, we've both explored plenty, and we've both been to some pretty great places. I wrestled with Revolver. He wrestles with GCW. We both went to the New Japan LA dojo. Like we've We've seen some stuff in the last 5 years. I would honestly say that the career trajectory that I'm on at this point in my career is matched by that young man. I got a lot of respect for Martyr, especially knowing where he's come from to where he is now. With that being said, Vegas is mine. I've been to Vegas before. I've wrestled for FSW before. He has not. I've wrestled in front of that crowd. I've done that flight. He has not. I'm very excited to wrestle Martyr. We have never had a one-on-one match before. We've only been involved in one match previously together in a I think a fatal 4-way. And that was in early 2019 or mid 2019. That being said, I'm very excited for the opportunity to wrestle for FSW again. It's a huge weekend. There's a lot of great shows. Martyr is talented, but he is also in my way. And I cannot let that remain. So, Robert Martyr, talking to you directly now. You my boy, but you're astray. I gotta put you down.
There you go. And again, that's just the beginning there, because we haven't even touched on who you possibly could be seeing that next round. There's so many amazing talent. You see Starboard Charlie in there, Alec Price, Casey Navarro, Jordan Oliver, Richard King, we talked about earlier. He's in there as well.
Yep.
Billy Starks, the list goes.
Don't leave out Billy Starks, man. And
No,
don't not mention Titus Alexander and Matt Vandergrift. See, there's a lot of talent in this tournament. I'm super excited about it, right? Some of them I faced off against, guys like Alec Price, guys like Richard King. I've wrestled them. People like Billy, who I consider a friend. I want to fight her too. And Titus, I want to fight him too. There are a lot of people in this tournament that I want to throw down with, and I'm excited to have the opportunity. But first, I got to get through Martyr. And until then, I can't look past him. He's very talented.
Gotcha.
He's dangerous. He's a dangerous competitor.
I got you there. And again, that mindset that goes straight into, again, if you're able to win it all, that championship goes home with you as well.
Look,
So,
you don't get to wrestle an Anthony Henry, a Minoru Suzuki, and live to tell the tale without being dangerous. That's a fact.
that is still insane. He has gone against Suzuki in there, and I don't know how this man does it, but hey, he's still standing, and next week we'll see who moves on.
Mm-hmm.
But from there, again, like I said, it is going to be a huge week there for FSW. So now let's get into this. You talked about him earlier. You are going to be facing Richard King once again there in this triple threat elimination matchup, with also Jordan Oasis being a part of this as well. So talk to us a little about this one. How do you feel going to this triple threat matchup next week?
You know, this one's complicated because I don't want to fight Richard King. I love Richard King. I love him dearly. He's one of my best friends. I don't want to fight him, but when I have to fight him, I beat him. I beat him twice in our one-on-one matches, and this is a triple threat match, right? So maybe I don't have to fight him, at least not right away, right? I don't know Jordan Oasis from a hole in the wall. Richard doesn't know Jordan Oasis from Adam, right? Is that a phrase?
No,
That's a phrase.
I believe so. Hey,
The point being is that Richard and I, we know each other, we trust each other, we love each other. We don't know this third man. But last night he had some things to say on Twitter. Last night he released a promo. I didn't watch it. Admittedly, I didn't watch it yet. But he put it out, and I'm going to watch it because I have to respond now. I have to talk back to this man who undoubtedly called into question my character, I'm sure. Otherwise, why cut a promo at all? So I'm ready. I'm ready to talk to this man. I'm ready to fight this man. And then whenever that concludes, me and Richard will handle things like friends do in a fight. Or maybe I can't trust Richard. Let's be realistic. Richard is the Adonis. Richard King thinks he's perfect. And I love Richard, but Richard King is not perfect. And I know that because I've beaten this man twice. So maybe I can't trust him. Maybe my odds are in my favor going at it alone. Then again, you want to go far, go together. We'll see.
Again, the elimination factor plays big here because you guys could possibly do it. Maybe do the 2-on-1 action, get Jordan out of the way, and then just sell it 1-on-1. Or you got to be careful. Maybe Jordan and Richard are listening to this right now, and they're like, you know what? Maybe we have to get Jarett out of the way. He's sounding a little a little too cocky for us right now.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Maybe I come off conniving. Maybe I come off arrogant. I don't intend to be those things, but I'm just being honest. And if that's how it's taken, then sure, maybe they don't want me to be around. Maybe Richard and Oasis know that friendship shouldn't come into play, and they take me out right away and handle it like men as they would. That'd be fine, but I don't believe it. I don't think that's what happens.
Again, we'll see next week. Again, it's going to be a huge FSW week. There we go. Matt Awesome throwing out there saying, listen, I know what it's like to face Jarett. When you're in there, he will take you out. There you go. So it's one of those where he knows. He's been in there. He's felt it.
Look, I've wrestled Matt too, and I love him, but I beat him. I put people down when I have to. It doesn't mean I don't like you any less.
Yeah.
If anything, I fight you, I beat you, I love you more.
There you go. I guess it's a weird friendship to have with you, brother. It sounds like it's one of those where you want to. Well, I feel like it's true though in wrestling. It's usually your friends hit you a lot harder. It always comes down to that.
100%, because it's this weird sort of brotherhood that exists only in this business. And that, yeah, we're all competing, but we're also performing and protecting each other at the same time as I'm trying to rip somebody's head off. It's a very unique thing that only we do.
And again, it's why we respect that craft. Pun intended.
Exactly. Right, you get it, man.
So let's get into this now, because usually this would be the time. We've already announced matches that are confirmed, and I would want to ask you about, so who's next? Who's on that list that you would want to face? But you've kind of done the work for me here, because you put out a list.
Pull it
so
up.
We're gonna show that here. So
Absolutely.
already you have faced you face one and done himself. You face JT Dunn, Pro Wrestling Savior. So now let's keep going here with the likes of, you got JD Drake in there. You have Rich Swann, which, hey, you have been around CZW a lot. I feel like it's a matter of time right now.
I'm pulling for that match. I believe I'll get that match by the end of the year, no doubt. And O'Shea Edwards as well. Look, O'Shea's entering Best of the Best in 4 days. Okay. Yeah. And I consider O'Shea a friend. I even call him Unc. Dude and I have a really good relationship. We went out to Germany together. I could say the same thing about Flip Gordon. I consider Flip Gordon a drinking buddy. We have good times. But O'Shea, Flip, Titus, Limelight, Martyr, Oliver, these are guys that I could see as quickly as in the next few weeks, all of them.
Well, again, as of next week, it could possibly happen. Again, Titus Alexander, part of that tournament. Maybe you see him in round number 2. Jordan Oliver, also a part of that tournament. It could happen in less than a week's time. We might be talking about, hey, the match has happened already.
I'm ready to check the names off. Martyr's about to be one of them. JT's already done, and I've got plenty of names left to go around. Flash Waller, I technically was involved in a match with him in a multi-man tag match a number of months ago. I want to say like 6 weeks ago, actually.
Okay.
But we did not run this one-on-one, and if I can't get it, then I'll technically
count it,
check that box. But like, I don't want to have to do it that way. I want to run one-on-one with Flash. That's just, and I know you know Flash's work. Dude is on the up and up. Dude is on the up and up. Dude is real deal.
Now that last one,
look, Eddie's contracted. Eddie's a dream match that I'm trying to have. Look, we're both from around here. I did a drive one time with Eddie Kingston back from Evolve into Orlando, and I was like 3 hours, and we were literally just talking hip hop and home the whole way. And since then, Uncle Eddie's been on my radar. I'm trying to fight that guy too. But
it's one of those where it could possibly happen, though. Because not only, again, contract-wise or anything, Eddie I've still seen once in a blue. Theo does make his appearances out here. You never know what could happen. So
it's a big task, but I'm up for it. I'm up for anything. I'll fight anybody. Ray, I'll fight anybody. Don't look at me like that.
I was like, wait, what I do? I'm like, I'm not trying to fight you here. I'm trying to be nice. This is why we're having a nice conversation.
We're good, man. I wouldn't fight you.
I was gonna say, let's not start this, because then Matt's gonna come at me, and then I have too many friends in the business. We don't want this. Again, like I said, I've gotten hit a little too hard for my friends alone. So it's like, let's not do
that to you. Wouldn't do
See,
that.
There you go. Matt's aligning here. Let's fight Toe.
Now he wants us all to fight Toe. That's not fair. That's not fair to Tags. Oh, see, he takes it on.
There you go. He says, let's do it. See?
I try to defend you. Now you got to get jumped. That's what happens.
Oh man, this conversation has just gone insane here. But now, okay, let's talk about this. We talked about opponents, we talked about all that, but now let's talk about places you would like to go now. Because I feel like you've hit every market so far. You've gone so many times all around here, but is there a certain company, a certain state that you do want to make your mark? Because we're still young in 2023. So where do we want to see Jarett Diaz this year?
Absolutely. So, I was lucky enough in the last year to wrestle with AEW and Revolver and Beyond and Chaotic. I love going to Vegas, and I got to go to WXW in Germany as well, right? So like, it's already been in the last 6 to 8 months, amazing for me, checking off some of the places. But I would love to go back to Puerto Rico. I have not wrestled in Puerto Rico. I have not been to Puerto Rico in 13 years, and I want to go very badly. That's where I'm from. I want to go to the UK, ideally sooner than later. Some of the CCW crew is doing a European excursion. I wasn't unfortunately not able to be a part of that, but I'm very excited for them, and I want to continue to help open CCW's doors to other international talent. Revolver was amazing. I can't wait to go back, but I want to hit the West, right? I want to hit Prestige. I want to hit West Coast. I want to hit Violence and Suffering. I want to go to Texas. I've never wrestled in Texas. I played football in Texas, but now I want to wrestle in Texas. My boy Steve Pena was just out there a couple of days ago. I'm definitely going to hit him up on that. I want to go to the Midwest again. I wrestled a bit in Indiana. I've wrestled now in Ohio as well. Chicago is on my radar. Iowa runs big Revolver shows. I want to be back there for that. I have not hit Florida in a long time. I've been meaning to go back because I got a lot of friends out there and other wrestlers I want to check off my list. Deadlock is a spot that I catch pretty frequently. DPW, I want to go there. Right? There is great wrestling all over this country and internationally as well. I think we're at a point right now where wrestling has never been better. And I know people have their opinions about wrestling. Pro wrestling is dead. Let's not worry about kayfabe anymore. All the talented people are signed. Fuck that. I'm not with any of that. I think wrestling right now is in an amazing place, and all I can do is help get behind the machine of pro wrestling, whether it be with the brands that I represent or with myself as a brand, and continue to grow this industry because we are in an amazing place.
Definitely so. And again, I agree with you with that. I feel like we're in it definitely the pandemic, it slowed down the momentum that the indies and wrestling in general was building. But I feel like we're in that boom right now where everywhere you see there's wrestling. Just less than 2 weeks ago, we were talking about how insane just wrestling was in Puerto Rico. So it's perfect you mentioned that. Yeah. It's one of those where I feel like now everyone needs to experience wrestling out there. It's 100%. One of those.
I just yesterday I pulled up this video of Bad Bunny's entrance and the impact that pro wrestling has in Puerto Rico, and bringing the most streamed artist in the world, a Puerto Rican man, to Puerto Rico to have a wrestling match. Like, the impact of that is not taken lightly. So I would love to wrestle in Puerto Rico and Mexico as well, but that's not what we're talking about.
Hey, again, Mexico as well. That's a destination. I feel like, especially for your style, it fits perfectly as well.
Yeah.
So again, you never know. And here we go. We got Matt Awesome saying, "We out to PR. We out to Florida."
Matt knows. So Sebastian Cage and Elzoni Santos and Big Cuzzo got to do a Puerto Rican trip. I want to say a number of months ago, maybe like 3-4 months ago. So I'm definitely going to make sure I go with them next time they go. It looked like a blast.
Definitely. I feel, again, it's one of those where just the island helps out. It gives you that different vibe there. And again, I didn't see this, but I guess I'll show it just to be nice. So, and then didn't even write my name.
See, you ain't got to show that, man. You don't have to show that. The slander, the literal attack on you. You don't need to show that, Ray. Don't worry about that.
And he wrote the wrong Ray too. Like,
can't even spell Ray. 3 letters.
But hey, again, it's all good.
Tags, figure it out, man. It's 3 letters. Put some respect on his name. Literally his name.
Oh man, it's all good. It's all good. So we talked about that. We're talking about destinations. We're talking about opponents. And I do have to ask for you, though, with everything you're learning so far, with all this, the experiences you've had, though, I do have to ask, what was that moment that solidified, this is it, though? This is what I want to continue to do? Because you've had some amazing moments. What was that moment, though, that it was like, this is why I do this. This is why we want to continue doing this.
You know what? That's a great question, and I don't have just one. Like there are moments. I don't want to say regularly, but there are moments in my career where I'm continuously reminded and humbled about why I do this. The first one that comes to my head, I think, as far back as I can look at this moment, is wrestling Myron Reed at XWA Summer 21, where I felt ready. I felt like I would be on his level when I stepped in that ring. And then I finished the match, and I feel the match went well, but I don't feel I was ready for that platform yet. And, this was 2 years ago, and I've improved a lot since. I've learned a ton since, but like, man, I would love to have that match again. Having that match with him made me feel like, oh, damn, there's so much more for me to learn. I can't wait to learn it. Fast forward to last fall, was taking my first international trip to wrestle, going to Germany and wrestling for WXW, which is the possibly most celebrated professional wrestling company in all of Europe. Being able to go to WXW and meet some amazing people and travel and meet fans, like German fans who were not only appreciative of American wrestlers taking the time and taking the travel to come to Germany, but being prepared with posters and baseball cards and 8x10s for us to sign and wanting to take pictures with us. It's like, it's not a fame thing. It's an appreciation thing. It's a humbling thing. It's like, damn, you guys all paid to like see me and see us. It was remarkable. It was a butterflies moment for me. And it, again, serves as a reminder as why I'm doing this, is that connection with people, that feeling of something bigger than just me in wrestling, which people look for feelings like that all their life. And sometimes they don't know how to access them. Sometimes they don't know where it comes from or if they can ever get to it. I know exactly where it comes from, and it comes from wrestling for me. So I'm regularly reminded why I do this and why I love this. And I love this.
That's awesome. And again, it's perfect, and I'm thankful to be able to have this conversation with you because again, it embodies that spirit of truly having that respect for the craft here. So that's
Dude,
perfect.
And thank you for asking me, because that's something that I think everyone should think about. Is like, hey, like, do you remember that you love this? Do you remember why you do this? Because it's hard not to, but like some wrestlers get jaded or discouraged about whether it be opportunities or pay or experiences that they're not getting for whatever reasons. And it's like, that's hard, and that's understandable to not be as enthusiastic at times, but like, you don't have to be doing this. Remind yourself why, and fall in love with it as often as you can, because it doesn't happen just once.
No, definitely. And again, that's why I asked that question, because I feel like, especially unfortunately with the time, with the pandemic era, I feel like a lot of wrestlers and any just talent in general fell out of love with wrestling. They forgot why it is we want to be a part of this. Why is it that we all had that initial love of this business? So it's definitely one of those where if you can remember those moments, and hey, making those moments now, it's always a great thing to be like, this is why we're here. This is why we do this. And even this Saturday, I had one of those, getting to see the wrestling club enjoying a show. And it was like, you know what?
Those kids are the best, right?
It's one of those where that was a moment for me that I was like, you know what? This is why we do this.
Yeah.
Seeing that genuine just love of it, booing the heels, cheering. It was like, you know what? This is it. This is why. Getting to see their reaction.
Best, man. When I started talking to Victor and getting to know him and why he was doing this and being able to share my story with him as well, was like, it created a very fast friendship. And so when I came back from Germany and I had this match with WXW and I got that footage like as soon as I could, and I sent it over, and he showed the class and he took a video of them watching me, and it's like, it made me cry. It's very humbling to see. That's another one of those moments, is like why I do this, why I love this. And it's very humbling to see how many hearts you can affect, and like how many people you can really touch with just doing the thing you love and sharing that passion.
Again, I thank you for doing that. And again, I know this is why Toe likes to mess with you too, because I know it affects him. He's like, you know what? This guy's good at what he does. I got to mess with him now. Like
that's all I could ask for, man.
It's one of those. But Jarett, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, because again, you're a busy guy. You have a lot coming up. So I have one final question here to ask you, and that is, please, for Jarett Diaz, what is the end goal?
There is no end goal, Ray. There is no.
The funny thing is, I had a feeling that was going to be your answer, but I'm like, I have to ask it, because there's two questions I ask everyone, and that's, the opening one of what the craft means, and it's this one, just because I feel like it's the perfect closer. Just
It
for the
is. No,
closer.
look, it's a great question for the closer. I'm not gonna bust your balls about the question. It's a great question. My answer is that there is no end goal because there are just continuous goals in this. I've always been the person that has known like no one thing is going to make you happy, right? Like if you're a regular person with a 9 to 5 desk job, it's like, oh, once I get to this position or once I get this raise, then I'll be happy. That's not how that works, and that's never what life has ever been about. Just briefly, like my dad was a police officer for 20 years, 81 to 01, made detective second grade and worked in homicide and narcotics and street crime, like all of the really elite like levels of grouping as a police officer. And I asked him, I was like, did it upset you that you didn't make detective first grade, like the highest rank of detective? And he's like, no, because I loved what I was doing. And it didn't matter like what my recognition was or like what the pay was. It wasn't going to make me any happier with what I was doing. And I took that to heart because I want to wrestle at all the places and wrestle all the names and all the guys that are on that list, right? But just as much, I want to wrestle with my friends and hit the roads and travel with them. I want to explore and see sights. I want to make money, but I want to be happy. And wrestling makes me happy no matter if I'm in front of 6 people or 6,000. I have goals, right? Like I want to wrestle with WWE. I want to wrestle with AEW. I want to sign a wrestling contract. That is like the next step, what I feel is in my career. But is it an idea that like once I sign a contract, then I'll be happy? No. It's the act of doing that makes you happy. It's the journey, not a destination.
There you go. That's perfect right there. That's a perfect way
It was
to
a
end
little
it.
long-winded, but it's
You know, it's funny. It's
passionate about
it's the perfect way to answer it because it's like, hey, there's no full answer to it, but there you go. It's the perfect way to go.
Yeah, sometimes I get caught in that where it's like I can't answer this, but I can speak on it, and that's the best way that I can.
And that's perfect right there. But thank you so much, man. Again, to everyone watching as well, go and make sure you follow Jarett Diaz and all of his social right there. Follow him on Instagram, the Jarett Diaz. Follow him on Twitter there as well at the Jarett Diaz right there. And again, go see him in all these amazing shows here. Again, you have the opportunity this Saturday. We'll be at New Age Wrestling there, defending that junior championship. Then next week, he'll be a part of that big FSW week. It starts next Thursday with his match against Robert Martyr. And then he concludes the weekend there against Richard King and Jordan Oasis. And then so much more to come as well that has been announced. So you're going to want to follow him to make sure you stay up to date with all things Jarett Diaz, because there's going to be a lot more to come as well.
I stay busy, Ray.
The Uptown Boys, for the board, and for Jarett Diaz as well. So go check him out. Jarett, thank you so much for joining us here. And everyone watching, don't forget to always be wise, be genuine, be real, be better people, respect the craft. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
I love that.